Hello, it's Lizzie Williamson here, known as the Excuse Buster from Down Under, and I am about to be on the Online Prosperity Show. If you are someone that thinks there is no way that you can exercise at work, and what's even the point of doing it? Well, you should listen in to this episode because we have got some ways to bust those excuses and help you be at an advantage in your day. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show. And I'm not saying that lightly. Today, I'm absolutely thrilled to welcome you to what promises to be one of the most exhilarating and insightful episodes we've had in a while. I'm already exhausted just being on this show already, and I feel sorry for everybody that's going to be watching with this because you got to keep up with the energy that my next guest presents. All right. I want to introduce to you Lizzie. Now, Lizzie, how are you doing today?
I am doing so well just after our little introduction chat to each other. I'm like, this is going to be good.
Absolutely. Like I said, I had to literally be jogging on your side just to keep up, and I love that kind of energy. It's not every day that you show up on it is a Monday when we're recording this, but it's not every day that you've got such, a lot of people have Mondayitis, and I think we're going to cure that with this episode today. And for those that are wondering what I'm going on about, well, today we're going to be diving deep into the world of movement, motivation, micro changes, and everything else in between with none other than the incredible Lizzie Williamson, also known as the exercise buster from Down Under. Damn, that's that's something else, right? And that's a title and a half. And get ready to be inspired, entertained, and enlightened as we get started on this journey together. Now, Liz, take me out of my misery. Could you maybe share with our audience a little bit about who you are and what it is that you do, especially with your remarkable 2-minute moves initiative?
All my life, I wanted to be a professional dancer. That was just my driving force. And every morning you would find me in my garage before school, this little ballet bar, and the garage had no doors on it. So everyone would walk past and go, what is that girl doing? But I didn't care because I just loved to move and to dance. And that love of dancing then led me to become this professional dancer. And I danced around the world on, cruise ships and casinos and doing all crazy chorus lines and can-cans and all this type of stuff. So that love of movement was always a part of me. And I always thought that if someone wasn't feeling very great, they were struggling with their mental health, they weren't having a good day, whatever, I would just think, you just need to go out and move and exercise. That's the answer. It's not that hard. And that all completely changed for me 15 years ago when I had a baby, a toddler, and I had post-natal depression. And I could not get myself to do the thing that I knew was going to help me so much. It really felt impossible. I was so stuck and I was so dark and felt so incapable of taking any action. And as you would know, Prosper, and you as well, I'm sure, listener, sometimes when you hit that rock bottom, that dark place, something is just not right. And you know that you need to dig really deep to try and make a change, to take some kind of action. And that was me at this time after going to see my doctor, and she had given me some treatment options, and I thought, I have to do something. And so I remember going to my kitchen bench and thinking, okay, this is going to be my ballet bar, and I just need to get myself moving. And even though it felt so hard, I got myself to do this one little plie, and a plie is a leg bend in ballet. And I got myself then to do another and another, and I could not get myself to do very long at all. It just felt so hard. But it was in that little moment that I felt this tiny faint feeling of hope and achievement, that I had done something for me in the situation that felt impossible. And so that little feeling then brought me back to do it the next day, and 2 minutes again the next day and the next. And I committed to doing just this 2 minutes of movement each day, even though my mind went, well, that's a pointless amount of time. There was something about it that made me just feel this tiny, tiny bit better. And then I started sharing these little 2-minute moves with people who I knew were struggling with their mental health or having a hard time. There was no social media then, so I just filmed a little video, and then social media came to be. And it just very organically and slowly became something that built into something I now do around the world, and sharing these 2-minute moves videos. And now I've gone on to write this other book. And if I had a crystal ball back then and it said that I would be here speaking to you, there is absolutely no way that I would have believed it.
Wow. Fantastic. And thank you so much for taking us on that journey in and of itself. And so many people go through this where they are on this climb in life, and then something happens in their life which literally gets them to forget who they were and who they were meant to become. Now, would you say while you were on that kitchen table, you had a glimpse of who you were and who you wanted to become? Because this whole movement had been a lifelong dream.
That's right. I think there is something so powerful about movement, whether or not you've done it all your life and been a professional dancer, to help you come back to yourself, to help you reconnect with yourself. And then what it also does is help you reconnect with others. Because when you feel that connection back with yourself, when you feel your muscles, when you feel a bit stronger, when your heart has been activated, when you've had those fantastic endorphins, endocannabinoids, myokines, the hope molecule, all those things that happen to us when we move, that helps us be more present with others. I certainly experienced that with my 2 little girls at the time. I remember when I was there and my little toddler, Stella, said, let's have a dance, Mum. And normally I'd be there going, oh, I've got to make dinner. I just fake my way through it. And this time I said, okay, yeah, let's do it. And so I started dancing with them. And I looked to Stella on one hip and my other little baby Ruby on the other hip. And I saw them for what felt like the first time in so long. I looked them in the eyes. I could see them. And in that moment, I went, oh, I have come back to myself after all of these months. And that's what this little moment of movement, and then the ripple effect that happened from that, getting more professional help and all the other things that we need as part of our pie of mental health. That's what brought me back there.
Fantastic. I've heard that just the small movement of a butterfly can literally cause tornadoes in different regions, because we might think we're just flapping or we're just doing the little dance on ballet, but the movement from where you are, you're energetically putting something back into the universe that never was there. And there's also, I don't know all the science behind, but there's a lot of chemical release in you moving, because your brain now starts to think, are we safe or are we happy? And that in and of itself starts to create, a positive environment. And I'm happy you came back to your girls, because when somebody is depressed, they switch off. What was life like for you at that time, especially, when you had the kids? Because you must have wanted to escape that a lot.
Yeah, it was really dark. And I had some really, really dark thoughts. And life was this fake smile, this going out and pretending that everything was fine. And I would look around me and everyone else was coping and everyone else was having a great time. And everyone else was, thinking that I would think, why am I not able to be coping like them? What is wrong with me? And so I felt so ashamed, because look at all that I had. I had 2 healthy children. I had a roof over my head, food to eat. The list went on. How dare I thought to myself, not be coping. Just get over it, I would say to myself. Everyone else is coping. And so it was a time of great shame and great guilt. And I think that that also really contributed to this feeling of stuckness that I had.
Did you have any support or people around you, except maybe, the medical professionals that then helped you, but around you, was there people that would have seen you through this or helped you a little bit?
Yes, if I had shared with them how I was feeling, absolutely. And it was only when my husband, he said to me at that time, he really begged me to go and get some help because he could see what was happening. And he said, you're falling apart. You need some help because you falling apart means this whole family is starting to fall apart. And that was such a catalyst for me to go and get some help. Someone saying to me, just please go and see your doctor.
Absolutely, because you don't want to be the person that derails the train. Now, could it have been that your whole life was about dancing and maybe having the kids sort of presented a temporary idea that maybe you might not be able to do what you were doing before, because for a lot of people that presents a bit of, oh my God, what's going to be next? Then I can't venture back to who I was.
Yeah, well, I'd already stopped dancing at that stage for quite a few years, and I'd already started doing a bit of the other type of work and producing and all that kind of stuff. So there was no that feeling of, oh gosh, I need to get back to dancing. But I think exercise movement was such a part of my life because I knew how good it made me feel. So I would always make sure that I just got out and did that, or some boxing class that was up the road, or went to a yoga class, or got out for an hour jog. And I think because I could no longer do that, I couldn't just walk out the door whenever I wanted to do that certain gym class. I couldn't, go for that walk. I couldn't do what exercise movement had always looked like for me. And because I couldn't do that, then I felt like, oh, I can't do anything. And that's the mindset that I was stuck in, all or nothing.
Absolutely, yeah. And if you feel like you're now chained in, your life, everything else just goes dark. But you didn't stay like that. You went on and decided, you know what? I'm, going to utilize these rocks that are being thrown at me and build a wall. What did you get up and started doing? Because this was no longer about you. You started sharing videos of what you were doing with everybody else.
I think this would be quite a familiar story to the coaches on the call, and often people, consultants, small business owners. When you discover something that has really worked for you, something super powerful. And for me, it was this whole change of mindset with exercise, how that turning that all or nothing into all or something. Something was so much better, and how these 2 minutes was so much better than no minutes. The power that exercise holds, and yet all the obstacles, excuses that get in our way of doing it. I wanted to get out there and help people bust through those like I had myself. And so that was the thing that really drove me forward. And what happens then is that you get a purpose. And when you're helping someone else, as you would know, how good does that feel? And how much easier then does it start to get you out of bed in the morning to realize that this is actually bigger than you? You've got the potential to have an impact here and use what has happened to you, this dark place, this challenge, the obstacles, all the things that we face in all our different individual ways. You've got a chance now to go and help someone then go through that same obstacle in your own little way. And it doesn't have to be huge. It just can be that one person to start with, and that next person, and then the next person. And so that's what happened to me.
Absolutely. Well, at the end of the day, I believe we're here to leave, to learn, and to contribute. You lived through the time where things were dark, but you learned from that. that you micro movements or just being able to stand up and changing your physiology and changing your state breaks the pattern of what you're going through. And now you're contributing and just sending the elevator down for other people that might not have that premonition or that sort of idea or intuition coming through to them. Now you've gone on and started helping a lot more people, and your movement is about incorporating micro movements into our daily routines. And it sounds all very fascinating. Now, Liz, when I sit on my chair, the only movement that I do is probably in my abs when I'm looking from that end to that end. And and I think after that, I'm going to be walking in and out to maybe get some water or get some food. But can you maybe elaborate more on what an active workday sort of looks like? What is the advantage or significance, especially for those that are small to medium business owners?
Yeah, I remember this day when my daughter, who was my little baby then and is 15 now, and she came home from school just so annoyed and frustrated about the fact that all day at school they have to sit and sit and sit and sit, and they don't get a chance to take breaks, and how they're all falling asleep and how her back's killing me. And, she did the whole teenage rant. And I said to her, I know. And unfortunately, so many of our work days look the same as that. And why have we set up our days, school, uni, work, to look like this? Because we have got this powerful tool, which is movement and exercise and physical activity, that helps us to switch on our brain. There's a study by Stanford University that shows that compared to sitting, walking increases creative output by 60%, 60. And those creative juices continue to flow after you sat back down. We have this chemical that gets released called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is like fertilizer for our brain, helping our brain cells communicate more effectively with each other. We feel less stressed. We feel so much calmer. We're more focused. The list goes on and on. So why are we not using this in our workday? Why is it such a separate thing? Lots of us will exercise in the morning or at night, but then spend the majority of our day sitting, not accessing this incredible inner pharmacy that we have inside of us. And so when I started working with workplaces and seeing what happens when they get these little moments of movement in their day, how it helps them on their meetings, laugh, smile, connect, how it helps at the end of their work week that they're not lying on the floor in agony on their back because they haven't moved for 8 hours every day, how it's helped them feel more productive, all of those things. Thought, right, let's work out a way to make this message super easy for everyone and to show how achievable it is to move a little bit in your day. It's so achievable. But what we first have to do is realize that the micro moments we do actually count. And maybe it's not that 30 minutes of exercise, but there's little moments in your day, and so many studies back this up, really do add up to make a big difference.
But have you ever noticed as well that when kids are moving and doing stuff in school, they're medicated? Somebody
Absolutely.
prescribes something for them. So would you say that this whole setup is like you say, you don't know why we don't do that from school, in our workplace? Because if you just let kids out the door for break time, they're bolting, they're running, they're out there enjoying and picking up stuff and just moving and playing games and imaginary stuff. But when parents or teachers see a lot of that movement, they go to get them prescribed to something that calms them down. Maybe you can comment a little bit on that.
Our bodies and our brains are designed to move, to function at their best. That's how we are designed. That's how we have always been. So what's happened, I think, is we've got the Industrial Revolution, right? And it's all about getting there, being productive, powering through. How much work can we get done in our day? And we've forgotten about the fact that how we are designed to be moving. We set super high standards of our kids at school, of ourselves at work, of what we need to achieve in our day. And so we think, gosh, there's no time for this movement thing. We've got to power on through. It's like, if you think about those Formula One drivers, and my family's all obsessed with Drive to Survive, that Netflix series, and they're all there on the track, just going, they're wanting to get to that finish line. And I always imagine when they're called in to box, when they need to change their tires, of course they don't want to get off that track. They want to power through. It's a matter of milliseconds to win this race. But if they don't get off, if they don't help their vehicle get the new tires, fix something in their engine, then they're not going to win that race. And it's the same thing for us. We need to give ourselves, our kids, these little pit stops in their day, so our vehicle can get back on track and be performing in the way we want to. When we're feeling that stress or that frustration, rather than keeping it in our bodies, how great would that be for kids, for even us, to let that out, to get moving? When we're not able to focus, our brain is built to detect and respond to change. It needs that little break. How amazing would it be to get everyone and ourselves to stand on up, reach up to the ceiling, roll down towards our toes, come back up again, and sit back down again. But we don't take these breaks. We think we've got to power through. And unfortunately, that's not giving us the results that we think we're going to get from just going.
Okay. Does moving my standing desk count as a 2-minute movement?
Yeah, the great thing about if you've got a stand-up desk, or if you've got some boxes you can have on your desk or anything, when you're standing, you do tend to move a little bit more. You might do, I hear from people, they like to move their hips from side to side, or they might do a few heel raises. It's sort of a bit easier to twist from side to side because it's not as comfortable. But it's not so much about the sitting or the standing. What we're talking about is moving our body. So even if you're standing all day in the same position, that's not necessarily the best thing for your body or your brain. So it's just about these little moments of movement, taking cues from your body and your brain. When you start to feel your neck and your shoulders, I feel a bit tight, turn your head from one side to the other. Have a little roll back of your shoulders. Pretend you've dropped some pens down on the floor and lean down to pick up one pen and lean to pick up the other pen. Imagine someone's called you behind. Twist one side, twist to the other side. Stand up and sit down. And there's ways to help you make this a habit. There's ways to help you remember it. And there's ways you can make it so it's just this part of your day.
Absolutely. Now, you've gone on and written a book about this, and it's become the cornerstone of your work. Could you maybe tell us a little bit about it and why it's a must read for especially anyone seeking enhancement in their wellness journey?
It's called The Active Workday Advantage: Unlock Your Most Energized, Engaged, and Happy Self at Work. Really what this is first of all, in the book, the first section, we just rewrite these rules that we have around exercise, that it has to be this certain amount of time, location. We're just going to rethink the whole thing. And even this word exercise, I like to take out 2 letters so it becomes the word energize, or you might have to take out a few extra letters, depending where you are in the world. So how much easier does this sound? I need to exercise at work today. I need to energize at work today, because that's what happens when we get moving. Re-energize ourselves. And there's probably not many of us that don't want some more energy in our workday. And rather than going for that third cup of coffee, the sugary snack when you feel your energy drop, movement is such a powerful tool to use in your day. Think of all the situations in your work that perhaps you need a bit more confidence. You're about to call a client. You're about to get on a discovery call or something like that, and you're feeling a bit of self-doubt. Maybe you'll feel that in your shoulders will slouch forward a bit. This is your moment that you want to move your body. Take a micro movement, stand up, roll your shoulders back, twist side to side, reach on up to the ceiling and imagine what it is that you are reaching for. Take your hands out in front of you and do your old school stir the pot dance moves and imagine all the ingredients you need for an incredible call ahead of you. Instead, what we tend to do is just sit there and freeze and be stuck in all these feelings. Whereas movement can put you at such an advantage in so many different situations in your day.
I like that. I like that. And Liz, I mean, you bring such energy and enthusiasm to your work, and it's really, really breathtaking. Now, what's your secret to staying motivated, inspired, and especially during challenging times? Because it's not always yellow.
every morning, the first thing I do when I wake up is I peer open, put over the curtains and look out, and I say to myself 3 things that I am grateful for. And some mornings that just, rolls off my mind. Yes, I'm grateful for this, all these things. And then there's some other mornings that, and they're going, oh, I don't know. And that is such a check-in for myself that, okay, if I'm struggling to find things that I'm grateful for, I'm probably needing a little bit of some self-care in my day today. And do I need to turn on a song and have a dance? Do I need to get those lovely endorphins happening? That is such a great habit that I have gotten into each day. And then what I think about is, how can I help someone today? How can I help make exercise easier for somebody today? What can I do? How can I contribute? And that's what's so amazing about the resources that we have, that I could just get off this interview with you, Prosper, and send out an email with maybe a little tip or a little video of a little move you could do on your stand-up desk, and one person might open that and do it, feel a bit better, see their kids or a friend or a colleague, and that energy that they've gotten is infectious. And there you have, I've contributed something today. And that's certainly what gives me energy.
Oh, I can imagine, because what do they say? If you give somebody else your smile, you literally, will be passing it on to the rest of the world, because you never know who they are also going to pass it on to when they go wherever they're going to be going. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but the world sort of changed, the last couple of years, and we've been on mute ever since. Yeah, ever since the Lizzie, get off mute. We've been sitting on a lot of Zoom meetings, and you can only imagine maybe the difference is maybe somebody going into a secluded environment, but we're just sitting in front of our computers, literally 24/7 nowadays. Is there any other sort of sneaky moves or tips or viewers that you might help people with, especially if you're in long sort of office sessions? Do you have to take yourself off of off of video and then just do a bit of a move or whatever it is? I don't know, just you might have some ideas.
Where I have seen so much success with all of this is in meetings. And the idea of starting a meeting with a little bit of movement, with a 2-minute move, with saying to everyone, come on, let's just have a little quick stand up off our chairs for a sec. Or if you can't stand up, just have a little twist from side to side. Let's roll our shoulders back, and whatever it is, take 1 minute just to go for a walk or a little tap of your feet on the floor, whatever it is you can do, because we're all so different in our bodies, what we're capable of. But if you do this together, it can be incredibly powerful. First of all, you've got that accountability. You're also, second, when you do it, you are giving that person next to you or in that virtual call, you are giving them permission to move as well. And then you've got that infectious energy that happens. The thing is that the idea of moving together on meetings, you might be listening to this thinking, there is no way that I am going to do that. And I totally get it. I get on stage for a living, and if people know that I'm going to get them moving, this is what I hear. Oh, the groans. People don't want to do it. But let me tell you that those groans very, very quickly turn to, oh, thank you. I needed that. I didn't know that was going to feel that good. So remember that. Be that person that is bold and says to that person on that virtual meeting, now this is a bit weird, but let's do some kind of movement together. Let's just have, even just look side to side. Let's look away from our screen for a moment. Let's have a bit of a reach up with one arm, then a reach up with the other arm, and how great that feels for our lower back. Let's take this little moment to prioritize our physical and mental well-being. And then you are a role model for them, for those people around you. And then that person thinks, okay, they did it, I can do it too. So yes, you can turn off your video, but it's a powerful thing if you keep on your video. When I do this with, CEOs are there on me with these movement things, and they keep their video on, that's such a powerful message to everyone else as well. And we all have a bit of, you can have some fun. You could turn on a song, you could do your old school dance moves, start up the lawnmower, get your heavy shopping bags. Encourage this idea that it's okay to interrupt these long hours of sitting.
Oh, absolutely. I think so many people, especially with this remote work that has just popped up, so many people, yeah, will need your expertise and work with you in order for them to start enjoying their jobs, so to speak. Now, apart from the book, would there be anything that you are presenting that people should know about the work that you're doing out there?
Definitely, if you're keen to see some of these videos, if you look up 2 Minute Moves, there's a YouTube channel there with heaps of the videos that you can play and do yourself or put on your meetings. So yeah, you'll find that there. And also, if you do end up reading the book, I've got a link back to so many different resources that you can use, that you can posters you can print up to help remind you to do it, some desk cards that you can have on your desk, ways that you can help get other people to do it with you, ways to make it a habit, a reward chart. The list goes on. So that's all there, and also, if there is something and you're listening to this, you're thinking, gosh, what should I do if I start to get really fatigued in my day? What should I do if I not, about to go on a call, or all those little situations? Then find me, reach out to me. I love creating these videos. So I will take your requests, especially if you mentioned that you've heard this podcast here with Prosper. I will take your request. I will create that video for you. I will put it out on the emails and on the social as well.
Ah, fantastic. Because I think so many people have this angst or fear that somebody's probably going to either laugh at them or, ridicule them for, acting like a kid or something like that. Whereas you're saying this is something that actually helps you be well, do well, and, show up in the best way possible. Now, where is the best place for people to get a hold of the book and also the activities that you're talking about?
You can Google the Active Workday Advantage. You can Google Lizzie Williamson. You'll see all my stuff come up there. If you're keen to read the first chapter and find out, how this book can help you have a better day and put you in an advantage in your workday, if you head to lizziewilliamson.com, and that's Lizzie with an IE, you'll see the pop-up will come up and you can grab that first chapter, free download there. And then, yeah, I'd love to hear from you and let me know how it's helped you.
Fantastic. I'll make sure that all those links are in the show notes below so that people can get started on their active movement there. But obviously, there's always those at the back of the room that are just, like you say, grunting and saying, it doesn't work like that. And especially the culture that we so have, and I'm going to say this with utmost love and respect, the tall poppy sort of culture in our corporations and in our society as a whole, where people just don't want to be that person who gets seen doing stuff. What sort of advice do you have, for people that are thinking that way, that, oh, I can't be seen doing that, it's not the place or the time for me to be jumping around. I'm a professional, for crying out loud.
Yeah, and I totally get that. And there's situations where we don't want to, get up and dance in front of people, and that's absolutely fine. The first thing I would say is just make it super, super small. So do little things like just roll your shoulders back a couple of times. No one's probably going to notice that. I love those sneaky chair moves that, like, you roll down. Imagine that you are plugging your phone charger in under your desk or tying up your shoelace. You drop something on the floor, doing this enthusiastic yes with your head, shake your head no. If you're someone who's on the phone, if you're able to stand on up when you're on the phone, even if you don't want to move in front of people, but if you are able to take a little walk around somewhere when you're on the phone, that is such a great habit to get into, a little bit of movement, especially if you don't have that incidental thing at the office, being getting up and walking to someone's desk or talking to them. We need to find our own little ways of doing it. Don't let the excuse of feeling embarrassed get in your way of taking care of your body and your brain at work so you can function at your best. Make it super small. Trust in those small little steps. and then see what happens. You might start to gain a little bit more confidence. Someone next to you or on a meeting might go, "What are you doing there? How come you're leaning over like that?" You're like, "Oh, I'm taking care of my back. It's been a little bit sore. I've got these little moves that I do. Oh, okay, I should be doing that too." And then the ripple effect begins.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, Liz, I don't know about you, but I think the woman that I just spent, 20, 30 minutes talking to is not the lady who had a head between her hands and was wondering, what's next for her, or was in a really dark time. Knowing who you are, knowing what you know now and who you've become, and maybe reflecting on your journey a little bit. What sort of advice would you give to your younger self who was depressed during that time? And if they would come across one of your videos and that now becomes the catalyst for them to want to do more, be more, and have more.
I would say to her a couple of things. First of all, that the little things that you are learning right now are going to be your tools that you will continue to use for your life. There are days where I feel flat, but I know now what to do. And I only know it because I learnt it the hard way at that time. I know now if I'm not feeling that great or I need a boost, okay, right, stand on up, have a quick little walk on the spot, sit back down, turn on a song, get your body moving in some way. The second thing that I would say to her is that share your story. Tell people that you're not coping.
Mm.
Find those right people to say, "Hey, this is happening to me and I need to tell you." Because in that shameful place, it's so hard to move forward. But the starting to share it, you realize that you are not alone and that other people are going through the same thing as you, and then they can share that back to you. That is such a gift to give to somebody. So I would say to her, find those right people, talk to them, get the help, continue to share that story. It makes you more vulnerable, but it also makes people then able to share things with you as well.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. And I'm really excited about what you've created and what you're passing on to other people out there, because had you just stayed in your own shell, this wouldn't be happening. So thank you to the younger Lizzie that decided, you know what, I'm just gonna do one ballet dance and things of that nature. But what if somebody is not much of a dancer? Because you were dancing, like you said earlier on cruise ships and things like that, and somebody who never got exposed to dancing, maybe they could find something that they're capable of doing, right? I'm supposing that would be the way to snap them out of that particular thing. Fantastic.
Yes, I have gotten hundreds of thousands of people moving. And let me tell you, the amount of people that say to me, "Oh, I'm not coordinated. Oh, I can't move." And then they start doing it and they can. We can. This is not about being perfect. This is about having some fun and being enthusiastic about it and just feeling like, okay, this little thing I did, yes, it's not perfect. Yes, I might feel a bit coordinated, but that's okay. I've moved my body and that's what my body and my brain want for me.
Fantastic. I really appreciate how you've shifted our perspective and really gotten us to discover how just micro changes can really have a micro impact, because it's just small moves, just little things that fundamentally become the big things. It's the small hinges that actually move the big doors, so to speak. And thank you so much for the roadmap that you've given us to thrive. All right. Now that we're joining the movement, we're going to be part of the moving sensation. There's going to be a lot of videos on the internet of people just randomly going about, and then they'll be like, "Yeah, just blame Lizzie." So Lizzie and her movement. What's next? What can people expect in the future?
The great thing about writing a book, and I highly recommend it to everybody, is that you slowly start to get really clear on what it is that you want to say and how you can best help people to solve their problems, to help overcome their challenges. So now that I have this book and what I feel now is a really clear message, it's now about getting out there around the world, sharing this message, getting into workplaces, getting on those conference stages, and helping people make this powerful thing that is movement easier for them to do.
Fantastic. You know, back in the time, people would fill up their bellies with just 2 minute noodles, but now people can change their lives with just 2 minute movements. And just to think that all you got to do is just move from side to side on your chair and everything else, and the whole outlook of your life, it really shifts your perspective. I can't thank you enough for sharing the time on the call with us today. We could have just done this in 2 minutes, but I think we needed to take this journey to really get people to understand how, if you don't have 2 minutes in your life, then maybe there's really, really bigger problems than that.
Prosper, can I please put on my website, because I know from you how important websites are. Can I please put that quote about we had the 2 minute noodles and all we need is the 2 minute moves? I love that. Do you mind?
It's all yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Well, there you have it, folks. What an incredible journey we've been on with the remarkable Lizzie Williamson. And yeah, she's started a whole new brand of 2 minute exercises that can nourish you for the rest of your life. I don't know about you, but I'm really feeling energized and motivated, and I'm already moving all over the place. Stop me, Lizzie. I gotta conclude the episode. All right. And I'm ready to incorporate some of these 2 minute moves into my day, because it only takes 2 minutes to be well, do well, and have a happier existence. And I want you to remember that if you want to relive the magic of this episode and maybe catch up on a few previous ones, be sure to subscribe to the Online Prosperity Show for more insightful conversations and empowering stories like this one. Until next time, keep moving, keep grooving, and I want you to keep prospering. Bye for now.